Hi and welcome to another Windsor Cake Academy tutorial. My name's Claire Corbett and today I'm going to show you how to make one of those really cute brushstroke cakes that are in fashion at the moment. Okay, so I'm going to start by making the brushstroke elements of the cake. I'm using some of the rainbow dust colour melts there, and basically I've melted those in one of the PME candy melting pots. I'm using a sheet of wax paper on a baking sheet and I'm just popping some little dollops of the colour melts onto the paper, and I'm going to use a palette knife just to spread out those blobs. The colour scheme I'm working today is white and peach, so I'm just adding a few of the orange colour melts into my white, and I'm just going to let that melt a little bit longer before I make the extra brush strokes. So I just pop that back on the melting pot for a few minutes. Okay, now that's ready, we've got a gorgeous peach colour. Again, I'm just going to pop some little blobs onto my wax paper. And again, I'm just going to use that palette knife just to spread out those blobs into long brush strokes. It's good to make sure you've got a variety of sizes as well. So you'll see me popping smaller blobs onto the sheet and larger blobs just to make sure that I've got a good range of sizes there. So I just popped those into the fridge to set up for a while, and now they're ready. I'm just going to pop a few of them off the wax paper. And I've just popped a sheet of parchment down onto my work surface just to prevent any mess that might happen otherwise. So I've got some of the colour splash lustre there in a rich gold, and I'm just going to pop some of that onto my surface. And I'll grab quite a fluffy brush. It's important to have quite a fluffy brush for this. You don't want to damage those brush strokes. So just a little dip into the powder, and I'm just going to dab that on top of those little candy brush strokes there. Okay, so I'm working on a cake that's already been crumb coated here, and I'm using the new Orchard Products Sharp Edge Scraper. So I'm just adjusting it so it fits my cake perfectly and squaring it up there against the edge of the cake tin just to make sure that that's not a weird angle. Just got to tighten up the bolts and then just double check whether that's the right height. Okay, so it is touching the top of the cake, so I'm just going to make that a little bit taller. Again, squaring it up against the edge of the tin. And tightening those bolts again. That's perfect now. Just slightly above the top surface of the cake. Double check those bolts are nice and tight. Now in my piping bags here I have some white buttercream and some peach buttercream, and I'm just going to pipe that quite generously around the edges of the cake. So I'm going for stripes here, so I'll just do 2 rows of each colour and switch bags again. Okay, I'm just going to smooth out the top a little bit just to make sure we've got good coverage there. So now I'm going to work with my scraper, and I'm just using some boiling water from the kettle just to heat that up so I get a nice smooth finish. Okay, at some points I've gone a little bit close to the cake there, but I'm going to keep scraping around. And then I do actually at this stage add a bit more buttercream, still in the stripes, just to make sure that I've got plenty on all the way around. I don't want any bald spots. So now we've got our beautiful striped cake. All I'm doing is adding our brush strokes, and they just, because it's a buttercream cake, they just stick onto the surface nicely. I'm arranging them in a pattern, well, it's not a pattern, it's more of a random formation. Just making sure I've got a good selection of the white, the peach and the gold there. But I'm angling them sort of pointing up and to the right, just so it gives the cake a sense of movement. So as you can see, it's really simple to do. Now you can see one's starting to slide there. I didn't stick that on quite firm enough. So let's just pop him back in place. Give him a good push in. There we go, that's better. And there we have our beautiful brushstroke cake.